Hello, everybody, and welcome to Leadership Hacks. I have the pleasure, the joy to introduce to you Diana Osagie. She is renowned within the educational sector. She has had an illustrious career and is now a courageous leadership coach. I can't wait to get into this discussion and for you to hear her story, because it really is one that is profound. It really is one that is inspirational. Diane, thanks for joining me today.
You are welcome. I'm still not used to hearing myself introduced. It's funny when people say she's this, she's that. I'm just me. But yeah, maybe I'm all right.
Yeah, I think you're a little bit better than all right. Diane, there is so much I want to talk to you about. But I guess my first question to you is, as Simon Sinek has said before, let's start with why. What is your why?
My why is that there is no reason why you, whoever you are not eligible for a triumphant life. Everybody is eligible, but not everybody gets to realise that fullness of the eligibility. Because of whatever circumstance, you were born in this place, or you're from that family, or you've got this issue in your life, or whatever. You went to this school that didn't quite get itself together. And so my why is that because of your circumstance, your eligibility is cancelled, and I can't have that. I can't just live my life and enjoy my privilege of having great parents and of having loving home and all those other things, whilst I see other people's eligibility be cancelled because of whatever situation, whatever context. That fires me up. That makes me angry. That makes me want to do something about it, which sounds so glib, but there is so much a person can do. And so that's why, because we are all eligible for greatness in our lives, and to have that cancelled because of circumstance is just unconscionable to me. I can't have it.
Yeah, it seems very much unfair. One of my frustrations I get with social media at the moment, and it always has been, I think social media is actually a positive thing, but overall, one of my frustrations is this: you see so much images and you hear so many stories of the end product.
Yeah.
So we see Diane sitting here, having had an illustrious career, can speak from a privileged position about going to speaking events and being a keynote speaker in various different countries, having stood up in front of tens of thousands of people, having coached so many people. Mm-hmm. But you didn't start out like that, right?
No.
What is your story?
My story, my goodness. Picture the Glebe estate back in the day. We used to have what used to call the London County Council, the LCC, and they built these estates after the war and the Second World War to house all the poor people. So picture the Glebe estate, which is in Camberwell on the Peckham Road, and on the ground floor in Bentley House were 2-bedroom flats, where you've got a mum and a dad and me. We came to live there when I was 4. I was born in Croydon, but came to Camberwell when I was about 4. And then my brother came along when I was 8, my sister came along when I was 13. So there's 5 of us in this 2-bedroom flat. Picture what I would look back on as an idyllic childhood. I used to play around the back on the dump, which was like this forlorn place where you put burnt out cars and fridges and just dump stuff. And that's where we played. I loved it. The dump was a place of
memories, I'm sure. Yeah.
Wonder and joy. You would go to Lucas Gardens, which had an adventure playground. I don't think they have those anymore. It's like this big wooden structure. You just to swing from these wooden structures and hurt yourself and get splinters every summer. Brunswick Park and Burgess Park down the corner, where you'd go and... This is where you spent your summers. We didn't have PlayStation. That wasn't a thing. So you went out to play. Picture a child that was loved. I was loved. My parents gave me that gift of loving me and all my flaws. But I was 11 years old and 6 foot tall with size 10 feet. So I was always this tall. I was always this big. I don't remember being petite. I don't think that ever happened. So I never fit in socially because I was tall, broad, strong, intelligent, black and female. I was some people's worst nightmare. I went to school every day. I had 100% attendance before we did attendance figures. because I had Nigerian parents. Where are you going? You're going to school. Chicken pox or not, take your chicken pox out and go to school with it. So I had 100% attendance for years. I went to school, did well. There was no option. There was no criteria. What would you like to do? You will do well. Why are we having this conversation? I looked after my brother and sister because that's what we did. I didn't get pocket money. What do you mean? Clean the house, you don't get paid for it. There's no such thing as getting paid for chores. There wasn't much money anyway. I did school. That's what I did. I did academia. I then went into university because, again, where are you going? Of course you're going to university. That's what we do. My parents packed me off. I failed my A-levels. That was a disgrace. Do them again. Failed them a second time. You think you're getting out of university. We will deliver you there and you will stay there, whether you're inside or not.
Yeah.
Thankfully, university took me. Did my degree, came home. I was going to become a teacher. So I lived on a council estate in South London till I was 19. We had our first family holiday when I was about 14. We went to Herne Bay for the week. And I took my best friend from secondary school with me. It was such a big deal.
Right.
We didn't have money, really. When I was little, there wasn't enough. There just wasn't. You went to bed hungry. That was quite normal. By the time my brother came along, we had just about enough. By the time my sister came along, we had enough, but not enough to spare. But that was a poverty of circumstance, not a poverty of expectation. Not a poverty of hope. Not a poverty of what will happen. This is our current context and circumstance. It's not forever. My parents were clear. Don't even think of using this as an excuse to go and do rubbish, as my dad would say. And so I didn't. I took that stance of being triumphant against adversity without thinking it's called that. This was just life. But I didn't realise it was setting me up for the life I live now. Because to me, the illustrious career, keynote speaking all over the world, conferences, all that to me is normal. Other people might see a glory in it. This to me is life. So I consider myself one of the most blessed women on the planet because of my parents, because of the grounding they gave me, where I wasn't allowed to use anything as an excuse for low expectation. Anything. Sickness, people are sick. What do you want? Go and read your books. Lack of money, people are poor. Go and read your book. There was no excuses for not pushing for the best and having the best as my baseline. That's just how it was in our home. And that is how I live my life now. The best is my baseline. I don't strive to that. That's where I start from.
So it sounds like your parents gave you a great foundation, and that is a blessing in itself. It truly is a great foundation to begin with. It sounded like you experienced failure, because I think everybody will look at you, and as I say, the illustrious career, she doesn't know what failure looks like. So you finish university, and then what?
University finished, so then in my literally, I did a degree in biomedical science, Wolverhampton. And in the final year, I knew I didn't want to be a scientist because they were low paid. I was looking at jobs. I used to read the New Scientist. I mean, that was how geeky I was, right? And we were looking at science technicians and scientists in biomedical labs earning, 8, 9K. And I thought, I'm not doing that. And in the back of the New Scientist was an advert for teacher training. Science teachers, a skit program.
Right.
And I went, that's me. It was literally a divine intervention. I opened a New Scientist at the very back in a little advert. I applied, but it was late in the term, so I had to wait till the following year. So I worked for a year in a shoe shop in Oxford Street, because that's what you did in those days, right? And I went to university and I started my science degree. I started my teaching, so my science PGCE. Loved it. It was clear, I'm not boasting, but it was clear that I was good at teaching. I was good at this. And you do a block practice, do some more lessons, they do another block practice. That final block practice, you're trying to get a job, because summer term's coming up. That final block practice, I did mine at St Bonaventure's School in Newham, and they said, we want to take you on and keep you and then start your teaching career with us in September. I was happy, I don't care where, because they're going to pay me for the summer. That's all I wanted, you know. And that's where I started my teaching career. Science teacher. I was a bit of a cow, shall we say? Because I was so strict. Because that's how home was for me. You cannot do rubbish in my classroom. I will curse you out. I will tell you, what rubbish are you doing here? So, and it was a boys' school, 1,500 boys. So you knew, Miss Osagie's classroom, don't play nonsense. You're not doing any rubbish here. I'll let you know about yourself. So the boys were all well behaved, you know, and I loved it. I loved it. And after 4 years, I'm like, you know, time to go and get a promotion. I look, okay. I went to my head teacher of the school. I'm looking to progress. You know, there's kind of initial conversations. The answer came back straight in my face. Bam! They have a head of year position going. No. Don't apply for that. It's not for you. This is his words to my face. It's not for you. We wouldn't consider you for leadership of any kind in that regard. Please go and help out in the SCN department. SCN in those days was a dumping ground. It wasn't what it is now. Go and help out in the SCN department. I didn't recognise racism. I didn't recognise, sexism. So I took myself, went to the SCN department and said, I'm here to help. I didn't take on board the foolishness.
Sure.
The guy who was head of SCN, he understood what was going on. Mm-hmm. But he was very kind to me. Very, very kind to me. So I was there for a bit, but I realised I don't want to do this, you know. Okay, fine. I started looking for my own job. And I did. I got a promotion and I went to be a head of year in a school, and it was a nightmare. The school was like a circus on a bad day with disobedient animals. It was a nightmare. Feral. No systems, no nothing. It was just feral. These days, a school like that would be closed down in a heartbeat. In the end, the school was closed down, which is unusual. Schools don't get closed down, they get taken over, rebroken, but to close it down, you know it's problems, right? Yeah. 18 months I did there, 18 months of just hell. It was hellish.
What did you learn during that time, Diane?
At that time, I learned that you can create an oasis of calm in the midst of a nonsense storm. So my lessons were calm. When I'm teaching science, I don't care what you're going to do next period. Here, you're going to learn science. So the children would come in. I mean, there was no corridor rules, but my kids had to line up before they came in and show me their pencil. I'm laughing because what I was like. Yeah. Show me a pencil case with the pens inside. Yeah. So they knew you cannot play, Miss Osagie. You'd come into my room, you'd come in calm, I'd have classical music playing on the radio, and we'd begin our science lesson. You can create an oasis in the midst of difficulty. It is possible. You can do hard things, people. Lots of people did. They resigned. Supply teachers didn't get to the end of the day. They did an hour and they walked off and said, keep the money, I ain't coming back. That was normal. I would often have to teach a class of 60, half the year group in the hall, because there was no supply teacher and they've got to be taught. So Diana would say, okay, I'll take them all in the hall and I'll teach them 60 at a time. You can do hard things. I learned that. But you must not make excuses for your level of expertise. If you're going to be a teacher, then be a good teacher. Know your subject. Understand what you're teaching. Understand how young people's brains work so you know how to deliver what you're teaching. I don't make excuses for, well, I've just started. Then you've got a lot of reading to do. You've got a lot of reading to do. You've got a lot of watching to do. You know?
Comes back to that structure that your parents gave you where...
It's the same. I don't do excuses very well. I'm terrible, aren't I? Like that. I just don't. So I learned that, but also I learned there are times, and as I said, the school closed down. The DFE went, nah. Nah. There are times when you must have the courage to say, enough.
Yeah.
And there's a skill between knowing when it's difficult and knowing when this is madness.
Yeah.
And what that school turned into was actually dangerous madness. And it closed. So I learned that there is a time when you say, no, no more, stop, just stop.
So that 18 months comes to an end. Are you now jobless or what?
Oh no, literally. I got a job because the school was coming to a close, what have you. I was head of year 9. I got a job as deputy head in a secondary school. So in those days, the stage between middle and senior was called senior teacher. We now call it assistant headship.
Sure.
But I missed assistant headship. I went straight from head of year to deputy head. So now I'm deputy head of a school in Islington, North London. Woo! Baptism of fire. I thought I knew hard stuff. I am now 28 years old. I'm the deputy over people who've been teaching longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
That went down like a bucket of sick. Some
Yeah. I think, you know what I think they also would have struggled with, though, is your surety, how self-assured you are. When you add that into the mix too, jeez Louise.
I'm like, you've been teaching for 5.5 years. Who do you think you are? Oh, man.
Yeah.
And I'm the deputy head key stage 3. I'm laughing because I can imagine if it was reversed, it was me. I'd be like, who's she?
Yeah.
Anyway, by God's grace, I was able to get through. But that school was also in turmoil. We were in a difficult place. We were the second worst school in the country at the time in terms of exam results.
As in literally the second worst.
Yeah. It was publicised because we had 5% A to C at GCSE. Now it's 1 to 9.
Yeah.
A to C in those days. There was one school in Yorkshire called the East Ridings. They had 3%. So, and it was league tables. We were the second worst school in the country for GCSE.
Yeah.
When I arrived in January 2001. By the next year, we were now something like the third most improved school in the country. We had 19%. But going from 5 to 19, it looks like we're bubbling, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we celebrated.
And rightly so.
It was a baptism again of fire because now we're dealing with a secondary school that has the potential to do very well. But so much has got to change. So a new head, me a new deputy and another new deputy, and we begin that process. I can tell you, Obi, I didn't leave that school for about 7 years in terms of going to inset day or CPD or anything like that. It was in school every day. There was no time for anything. There was no bandwidth for anything else. It was just...
Yeah.
I'm not saying that was right or wrong, but that's how we did it, And every year you turn the corner, Every year it gets slightly better. But it took about 8 years to turn.
And during this baptism of fire that you've spoken of, so, 28 and you've gone into this role, what level of training did you receive to now manage people and to manage at that level?
Nothing. We didn't have MPQ, nothing. MP nothing. It wasn't invented.
So it's literally learning on the job. You are facing things for the first time.
Chalk, winging it, reading book, hoping for the best. There was none of that.
Mentorship? Did you have mentors?
No.
No, it really was. Okay.
Coaching wasn't a thing. But they, bless them, Islington Council set up this Black Educators Network thing.
Right.
And they'll forever, I'm now this black female, young female, because I'm like a bit of a prize, like a prize dog, And they're like, oh, come. I'm like, hell no. I want to come and sing Kumbaya with you people. I've got a school to run. So I never went, there's, so you must come. I'm not interested. Networking wasn't a thing.
Sure.
For me. Islington said, well, we're going to give you a coach. I'm like, what for? What's that? But they did, and they wheeled out this woman. I swear this woman was already dead before she came. She was so old. old beyond, I mean, like they dug her up from some corpse and bring her in. But she was so wise. A veteran of leadership landscape. I sat at that woman's feet and just soaked in the wisdom. She gave me one-liners, little strategies that I still use 30 years later.
She was a blessing at the time.
Oh, an absolute blessing. I think I only had 2 sessions with her before they wheeled her back off to the graveyard. But she was one of those people that still volunteer their time when they've retired a long time ago.
Sure.
Still volunteering to mentor and to help new heads. But that was the only mentorship I had throughout all of that deputy time. Until 2007, I think, when I did my MPQH.
Okay.
You know, MPQH. But even then, it wasn't about headship. It was just a lovely course on a Monday afternoon
Sure.
at the IOE. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Had no connection to headship whatsoever. None at
So
all.
you didn't have a desire to go on. Being a headmaster was never something that was.
I wanted to be, I made it up, right? I wanted to be a key stage 3 consultant. There's no such thing.
Right.
But I was avoiding the call of headship on my
Right.
life.
Yeah.
And I don't tell no one, right? I was dating this guy, and normally dating at work, no.
Right.
Remember, I'm Nigerian. We ain't doing them rubbish. But this guy, he managed to get through the armour. I'm dating this guy, and he said, "You could be a phenomenal head teacher." I'm like, this relationship's going to end if you keep talking like that. I'm not interested. No, you could. And he was encouraging. He kept on encouraging me to become a head teacher. No, I want to be a key stage 3 consultant. I'm telling him all this rubbish. He goes, whatever, you're a head teacher. Everyone can see it apart from you.
Yeah.
I dumped him. So now we're in, you know, I can now live my life the way I will.
He got the hook.
Interference for other people. I've done my MPQH fine. 2-3 years have passed. That's now 2009, 2010. MPQH people rang me. National College. We used to have this big centre up in Nottingham, like a big complex. They rang me. Miss Osagie, are you ahead? No. Why not? You've done the MPQH. Why are you not ahead? I said, I'm not looking for my head to fall out for me to get expert over no job. We want to invite you to MPQH Plus. What's that? It was like a weekend where you can literally just sit at the feet of serving head teachers and ask them any question you like to get a real insight into the reality of the job done well. No problem, I'll come. Sat at the feet. Sir Pritpal Singh was there. He was from Drayton Manor School. Paul Kehoe was from Mount Carmel, and some other ones. Just sat at their feet and just asking questions and, you know, getting the real inside job. By the end of that week, I went, yeah, I can do that. If that's what it's like, not the madness that I see, not the I work 12 hours a day, including Sundays, I don't eat, I don't sleep, and I live on alfalfa beans. That kind of head, who wants to do that?
Yeah.
If that's headship, I'm not interested. Nobody should be. But if it's this normal stuff, but it's high-powered and you need mastery, I can do that. So I began to apply. I began to apply for headships. And you're getting down to the final 1, final 2, final 3, and all that kind of thing. So, you know, applying for 2 or 3, what have you. And then literally the headship came up at my current school, where I was deputy.
Right.
My head was retiring. And you think, yeah, but no. You know? Yeah, I want a new challenge.
Did your head give you a tap on the shoulder?
No, hell no.
Right.
No, none of that. He was an above board guy. None of that.
Sure.
You're going to get this job, get it on your own.
Yeah. I'm going to do what you want.
Yeah, that was there. You know, and Obi, it was a 12-hour interview.
Wow.
9 till 9. See, you people don't know how good you've got it. It was different those days. None of this Zoom call, interview on the phone. 12 hours, bring yourself, come sit here. There were 12 external candidates.
Huh?
No, so that's for the deputy headship. For the headship, oh my goodness, it was 6 candidates. Still a full day, 12-hour thing. Assembly, meeting with the children, teaching a lesson, meeting with this group of leaders, meeting with the parents. It was a whole thing. A whole thing. They rang me to say I got the job. You know when you get home, you wait for a phone call?
Sure.
10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
So you know when they're deliberating? You're not getting this job easy. 10 o'clock at night. The phone finally rang. Because they said, we will ring you today.
Sure. So you stayed.
So
You were staying up. You were staying up.
You know, I'm not listening.
Yeah.
I got the job. Fine. As I speak to you guys, as you're listening to this podcast, listen. Remember this. When you get a promotion, remember in your mind when things all start going pear-shaped after the day you got the promotion. You were appointed on merit. Nobody had an election and you won. There's no popularity contest that you won. So when things start going a bit, Pete Tong, as they say, you have to remember, I am here because of the mastery and expertise I bring to this role. Not because I look a certain way, or because I look good, or because I'm friends with so-and-so. If you got your promotion through those means, you have to maintain it through those means.
You're absolutely right, Diana. And one of the things that I see in leaders is when that doubt creeps in because times are becoming difficult, they start and begin to doubt their own worth and their own validity and their own capability to do the role.
Yes, and you must check your internal narrative. And if people say, "Oh God, how do you do this? How do you do that?" I have become skilled because of hard things at checking my internal narrative. Because if I had believed what my first head teacher, who said you're not leadership material, to my face, if I had taken that on board into my internal narrative, you wouldn't see this, Diana. That same head teacher who went on to bigger and better, notice I'm not naming him, right? Because it's not about that. He went on to bigger and better. And when he went on to his bigger and better school, he called me when I was at my school, when I was deputy head. He put a call through to me. So this call came, Miss Osagie, this is the secretary to so-and-so head teacher. He would like to speak with you. I nearly died. I thought I'd stolen something from before and he wants it back. What have I done? Yeah. He comes on the phone. Good afternoon, Miss Osagie. I'm still bowing. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
I would like to offer you to come for an interview to be my assistant head teacher.
Wow.
The same guy
who said leadership material.
I said, sir, without trying to be...
Yeah, of course.
Sir, I've been a deputy for the past 5 years. Silence. Oh, are you sure? Yeah. I have assistant heads that I line manage. And he went, how old are you? Yeah, and I said, a lady never tells, so.
I'm sure you enjoyed this conversation at the time.
Oh, I love it.
Come on, loving it.
I love it. Oh, okay, well, I wish you very well for your future. And he hung up on me. But if I had taken his words, his initial words, and let them become part of my internal narrative, the life I lead now, I would have made myself ineligible for this life.
Yeah.
You must check your internal narrative. When someone says you're not very good at something, check and see if it is true. If it's true, fix up.
Yeah.
If it's not true, say thank you very much for your observations, they've been noted, and move on.
Yeah.
I don't allow people's words to become my voice, my internal voice. No.
Yeah.
I don't allow narratives to come close to me easily, because otherwise I use my bandwidth to try and weigh up your words.
Okay, but Diana, you say this. What do you do in a situation, or have you been in a situation where you have not been liked by your colleagues? Where?
Yeah, but that's part of the job.
Well, tell me about a time like that then, and where does your current mindset? How do you remain strong-willed through that period when you've got people who are just out to get you, people who don't believe in you?
Now, listen, if you've got that bell curve thing, right?
Yeah.
You're there at the top. Half don't like you, half do.
Sure.
Just get over it.
Yeah.
In the world, half people will not like you. Go to the very end of that bell, go, those people at the very beginning, they can't stand you. They'll make it their mission to bring you down. Then you got the other end, there are people here who love you, who cherish you, who think you're amazing, and all in between. Get over yourself. Yeah. Firstly, get over yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah? So leadership is not for children in that regard. You've got to be an adult. You've got to be mature. Yeah? I'm not, you get student leaders, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course, of course.
If you don't know yourself, if you're not secure in yourself, you're going to have problems. To be honest, if you're not secure in yourself, you don't know yourself, please don't do leadership because you'll mess up people's lives.
Absolutely.
You'll mess up people's lives.
That's where our bad leaders come from.
Yeah, if you're not stable, stay your way until you learn, you know, because you will come and bleed your wounds on other people's lives. Half my staff hated me. I accept it. I remember I didn't win a popularity contest.
You were there to invoke change. You were there to increase the standards, to install
Absolutely.
a winning mindset.
Even if you hate me, I will still love you. I had to learn that the hard way. I'm a born again Christian, so it's kind of baked into me that, you know, I mean, love has to come into this somehow, D. People who made it their life mission to bring my leadership down, doing pickets outside of tube station, you know, and all this kind of foolishness. Come Monday morning when you're back in my office, Miss Osagie, have you got a minute? They want to talk to me about some situation I need support now. Were you not the one doing picket before? Were you not the one, we the undersigned, and sending rubbish letters to all governors and whoever else will listen to your foolishness? But now you're in my office, oh, I need to support me in a situation, I'm having difficulty here, there and everywhere. I have to love you. I have to.
It takes a lot to turn the other cheek, though.
It's not even that, you know, it's not about that. I'm not fooling, I will not let you hit me. I'll not let you come too close. But I will give you grace. Grace is the favour you have not earned. I will give you grace. But, hear me, you will not steal from me. If I'm paying you to be head of maths, you will do the head of maths. You will not, or if you're doing half work, I'll give you half salary. Let's see ourselves.
I've always believed in leadership. You can be firm but fair. And people will respect that if you're firm and fair. You don't have to...
Firm but fair. And when I look at it, with all the people that you work with, if it's all outside somewhere, you know, fun fair or wherever, some sort of fate, and you line up 100 people, I wouldn't choose you to be my friend anyway.
Yeah.
But because we work together, we must be friends. What rubbish is that?
Yeah.
No.
Not at all.
Colleagues, absolutely. Professional respect and courtesy. But I'm not your friend. When I hear this in schools, I wonder. We are all one big family. Uncle, me. No. No,
My family.
No, we're not family. Yeah. Because my sister, if she needs a kidney, come and take one of my kidneys. Yeah. Head of maths, he needs a kidney. Oh, no, we're not family like that. Yeah. So we're not one big family. We are colleagues.
We're colleagues with one common goal, or we want to have one common goal, a vision and mission, and work collectively towards that.
And we are paid to make that goal happen. My sister is not paid to be my sister. This is family. Let's not get it twisted. I am paying you, head of maths, 3K per year, per month. Oh yeah. Bring me the maths.
It's brilliant. So, and Diana, so another question to you then. What are the misconceptions that you have seen around leadership, or the mistakes that you've seen around leadership from before, if I take you back to before you became a recognised leader, or with those that you're working with that you've seen over the years?
I think the biggest mistake in leadership that I've seen is where people underestimate the weight of being a master at what you do. You need to be very good at what you do. There's no escape from this. So I'm a science teacher. I need to be a very good science teacher. Then I became second in careers department. Be good at that. Head of year, be very good. When you leave expertise to the back and bring charisma to the front, you're on a difficult road. Charisma will find you out. So if you are, as a head teacher, I taught. I had my own science classes, GCSE, they're always going to be set 5. You know, the kids were just on the cusp.
Yeah.
They didn't make it, but you've got the head teacher, you're going to have to make it now. So I had to teach, in those days, do coursework, everything, mark books, the whole thing. But that kept me honest in the profession. Because now I'll be saying, whew, this marking policy now, who devised this marking policy? You. Me! Okay, let's change this, you know? All this marking, you mark, W-W-E-B-I, I marking green, you marking, all this is long.
Yeah.
You know? It kept me at the core of our organisation. If you're the head of Sainsbury's, you have to go work in the shop. The actual beans and the rice on the shelf, even that's your core product, you have to go there. But there's something peculiar, specific about education. Where you lose touch with the true heart of the school, what happens in every classroom, there's something lost there.
And I think to your analogy, I think it's important to, therefore, you need to visit the shop floor, whatever the shop floor is, to stay in touch and in tune to understand.
I think so. So when you get too big for yourself, you got I had a nice office, big table, microwave, all that thing going on there. And I had to go and teach in the science lab, and you think, this science lab ain't up to scratch, you know?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm doing the odd learning walk through it. You don't understand the environment. Does that make sense? 1, keep your mastery up. Whatever it is you do. If you're going to be a leader of SEN, then make sure people have to get up very early to be better than you. You know? Me, I don't do SEN. I don't do data. I don't do timetabling. All this, I don't do. Leadership, I do. I have no mastery in SEN whatsoever. But I know how to employ people and develop their leadership skills so they will do the SEN for me. I know my stuff.
You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses,
Absolutely.
you know what you
and
like,
I don't,
you know what you don't like.
I don't subscribe to, having an all-round mastery. I go deep here. Here, I've got a vague working knowledge.
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so keep your mastery. Get over yourself. You're not that important. But you're not.
It's funny you say that. I often say to people, you know what? Nobody cares. You think nobody cares about you? Nobody cares about you.
The only person who sees all your content is you.
Yeah.
Everyone else is getting snippets and bite size. Get over yourself. If you die, they'll put a rose bush and a bench. And they'll put an advert in TES and the job is fulfilled. So, no one's mourning you for very long.
Yeah.
So get over yourself. You're not that important.
Yeah.
You're
I say it all of the time. You're a custodian. You're a custodian of a position. That's all it is.
That's
Yeah, and
it.
do the best you can in that role during your period.
And don't misuse any power that you've got.
Yeah.
Do not misuse it. You're not that important. Don't think that your position can shield you from you doing rubbish.
Yeah. Diana, one final question from me. Courageous leadership. That's what you do.
What I do?
Why is the centre point about courage in leadership?
Because leadership is not easy. And it takes courage to put yourself into a position of potential fire, into a position where you can't see the ending. You are trusting and you are hoping that what you're going to do is going to work. Courage because I am fighting for young people's lives where society is having a different narrative over their life. And so we're trying to build organisations and schools and multi-academy trusts and try to train leaders and develop head teachers so they can turn the tide so that our young people get through unscathed. This is not done on a Sunday afternoon watching CADFAR. This is done in the trenches. It is not done in a nice leafy place in Cheltenham. This is done in those trenches where the young people are. But if we don't, they don't get through. Society is not set up for them to make it by themselves. It's just not. So we have to advocate hard for them, for their potential, for their worth, for who they are. We have to. The Prime Minister of 2043 is sat somewhere in someone's classroom. Now, if that someone's not switched on, they're looking up, looking down, looking around. So I don't take it as lightly that we have a great commission to teach and to fulfill the mandate of leadership on our lives. I don't take it lightly. Is it something that you can do without courage? You could. But with courage, you have a mindset that anything is possible. With that kind of mindset, when someone says to you, like I said to me when I was a baby teacher, you're not cut out for leadership. I didn't even take on his words. That same guy rang me back, offering me startup position when I've already been a deputy for 5 years.
Yeah,
You know?
and it's a fantastic example of what I try and teach my own children, which is don't ever let anybody tell you can't ever do something, including myself, as I say to my kids. Even if I say to you, you won't be able to do that, don't listen, because if you've got the determination, the passion, and you're prepared to be disciplined and consistent, then you can achieve anything in this world.
What I should have said to him was, why do you think
Yeah.
I'm not eligible? I didn't say that out of respect, I just kept my mouth shut.
Sure.
When people say to you, you can't, ask them, why do you think, what evidence do you have for that? If the evidence is true, go and do some learning.
Yeah.
There's your action plan. If not, say, thank you, your comments have been noted, and walk on.
And we're going to have to walk on. That's a great link into this. I don't want this to end, but we are time constrained. Diana, I know that the audience have really enjoyed listening to you and hearing your inspiring story. And I know there are people out there who are like, how do I get hold of this woman if I want to get in contact and utilize her services? How do they do that?
Courageousleadership.co.uk. Everything is on there. Or hook me up on LinkedIn, Diana Osagie LinkedIn. I'm there too.
It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for sparing your time with us. Leadership to all of our hackers, I hope you've enjoyed this and I look forward to delivering the next one to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.